Yes.
Ah, beautiful. Hi, I'm Kris Lloyd, and
Speak up.
hi, I'm Kris Lloyd, and this is Dewey Dash from Dewey Dash Photography, and Dewey and I have done work over the years, and he's an amazing photographer and an amazing food stylist. So he's got this cheese platter that is going to be the final thing that we look at. But before that, I want to show you and just talk to you about, I don't know, just all things cheese. So maybe give you some cheese tips. And Dewey, when we were talking earlier, we sort of said that, you know, there's no rules with cheese platters, is there?
No.
You know, you can just, you know, you can make it up. It can be as simple as you want. It can be as complicated as you want. But, you know, there really aren't any rules. So for us, it's about giving you a little bit of inspiration, because we know you've got time to be inspired. Is that right?
Oh yeah, everyone's got so much time right now.
So, question to you is, who has been eating themselves out of house and home this weekend? Because I have spoken to so many people who have said, all I've done all weekend so far is just eat. So we hope that we can encourage you to eat a little bit more. Okay, so
what do you want to start with?
I guess I think that there are some little messages up on there, which I can't kind of see at this stage. But one question I had, is the broadcast okay? Can you see us okay, and do we look amazing? Can anyone let me know? It'd be great if someone could just say, yeah, the broadcast is awesome. Is that thumbs up?
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is just show you a simple, we've all washed our hands and all of that sort of stuff, so we're all good there. Just something really, really simple. So because of the fact that obviously, you know, it's a little bit harder to get out and about at the moment, what we've done is we've put together some cheese bags. And we deliver those cheese bags to your door, or you can come and pick them up from Woodside. So we're just at Henry Street, Woodside. And what I've done is I've sort of selected a bunch of cheeses that I think work really well together. And there's some cheeses also that, you know, maybe you haven't seen before. So the first cheese bag that I'm going to put together here on my cheese plate is the native cheese plate. So one of the cheeses that we feature quite heavily with our range of cheeses that we do is Anthill. So Anthill is a beautiful fresh goat's cheese. What's wonderful about this cheese is it's very, very highly decorated. It's won many, many awards. And in fact, it actually came number 11 out of 3,021 cheeses in Spain at the World Cheese Awards. And, you know, it's actually been the catalyst for us being able to export this cheese, so I owe it a lot. So yes, green ants, and it actually does have green ants on it, and I'm just going to hold it up there, and I don't know whether you can see them, but I reckon I'm going to give you one, Dewey.
Yeah.
You've got your little tweezers, haven't you?
Yes.
Can you just grab one?
One of the ants?
Can you just grab one so my cheese lovers out there can actually see one of those green ants? Yeah. So they're farmed by our Indigenous foragers, and so you know, it's a lovely story, because the ants are something that our Indigenous people have been eating for thousands of years, and for us to be able to incorporate something so Australian in our cheese making is fantastic. So, and you know, it's taken us on a great journey. It's obviously been the catalyst for us exporting to the US and a whole bunch of other stuff, so I'm very, very grateful for the green ant cheese. And it not only looks amazing and not only tells an Australian cheese story, but it you know, it just tastes quite incredible as well. So I'm just going to place that on my white board here, because I want it to pop. And the other thing is I've picked up some beautiful lemon leaves, okay? So this is going to be all about green. I don't have a green frog cake, but, you know, if I was able to get one, I probably would have popped one on here. I've also got some beautiful native lemon thyme leaves, and I'm going to pop those on there as well. and I've got lemon myrtle. So lemon myrtle is one of the most beautiful ingredients, and we have a little farm that's not very far from us in the Adelaide Hills, where we actually get our lemon myrtle from. So this particular cheese, we just call it lemon myrtle chev. It is just 5-day-old chev, and it is rubbed with our dried lemon myrtle, and it just, the smell is really, really fresh, and it is such an amazing fresh cheese. Really quite similar to the green ant cheese, but obviously doesn't have the ants. So Saskia Beer, the late Saskia Beer, and I was really quite sad to hear about Saskia. The last time I was with her, she was cooking a chook, and she asked me for a couple of lemon myrtle. We were at a function together, and she ended up getting the whole lemon myrtle, and she shoved it in the cavity of the chicken, and also in that breast section. She lifted the skin and she put it under the breast section, and she roasted it. And I've got to tell you, it was the best roast chicken I've ever tasted in my life. It was so incredible. How does that sound? Does anyone want to do that at home? It was really delicious. All right, so we've got some really simple things going on here. Just placing them on the white plate. I'm also going to go to our bush buff. So we've had 2 goat cheeses. Now I've got this little buffalo cheese. So this buffalo cheese is encrusted with our native outback bush tomato. So I'm just going to introduce a little bit of red on the plate, which I kind of like. And I'm quite fussy about how things look. Maybe not as fussy as Dewey, but I'm pretty fussy. And I like things to look pretty, and thank you, pretty and nice. And I think that the bush buff, which is what we call it, is a really great savoury cheese. All right, moving right along. My dear friend Amanda McInerney. Sorry, I knew I had you here for a reason. Please, can you open that?
There you go.
Thank you. My dear friend Amanda McInerney, I hope you're watching, Amanda, I don't know if you are, made me some crabapple jelly, okay, and I just kind of feel like that goes beautifully in with this theme. So I'm just going to put a little bit of red there. So I'm trying to balance out a little bit of colour here, because I think that just looks really, really quite nice. Something like the green ant cheese, I'm going to say to you, you don't need crackers, just eat the thing on its own, because it is just very, very delicate, and it really doesn't need anything. I just like you to try it firstly on its own. And then I'm just going to get some beautiful hot crusty bread, because the crusty bread will go so well with the bush buff. So I'm just going to put that there. And would you mind just getting me some crackers?
Yes.
Please. I've got my green tomatoes, and they're just going to sit by the side there, and somebody will cut them, and if they don't, they just look pretty. And I've got soft cheeses here, so I'm going to use a round knife, okay? And I'll just place the round knife. I do like to have a knife for each cheese. Again, all soft cheeses. I'll cut a little bit of that. One of the things with cheese boards is if you're putting whole cheeses, thank you, if you're putting whole cheeses on a board, it's really good to cut just a little portion, because people look at a whole cheese and they're kind of a little bit intimidated about, oh, should I be the first one to cut it or not? So I always like to just make the first cut, if you like. And I've got some crackers. These are made by Bailey's. They're my neighbours in the Adelaide Hills, and they make some beautiful crackers for us. So there's some crackers to go with the lemon myrtle, no crackers for the anthill, and some beautiful fresh bread for toasted bread for the bush buff. And I'm actually just going to drizzle a little bit of curry olive oil just on the bush buff and on that bread. And pretty much that's it. That's my native cheese platter. Very, very simple and elegant, but I think something that people would really enjoy. And I'm going to be putting that with a glass of, because I can, curry au Prosecco. Oh no, not Prosecco, Chenin Blanc. Prosecco comes later. right, so we've got acid going on here, lots of acid going on with the cheeses as well, and touche, I bet you wish you were here. Who wishes they were here? All right, we're going to take that one away.
Good start.
Good
Very
start?
Good start. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll put this away, and I'm just going to move on to
I'm just going to put this here just in case anyone wants a bit of a closer look.
Okay, hopefully you can get a closer look at that native cheese platter. So again, very simple, but there's some nice little poppy colours going on there, which is nice, and all of those cheeses are lovely and fresh. Okay, so my second little thing that I want to share with you is about brie. Okay, brie camembert styles. So one of the things that I just want to just talk to you about is with a brie, how many of you have bought a brie and you get it home and you cut it and it just looks back at you? Okay, so what I'm saying is you can actually learn how to choose your brie, and that would then mean that when you get it home and you're going to eat it that night, it's going to be a beautiful brie, gooey brie. Like, you don't want to hold that one up and just show.
Yeah, my hands are clean.
Right, so this brie is what brie should be like, or camembert should be like when you eat it. I'm hoping that you can see that. Yeah. And so, how do we work out that the brie is going to be like that? It's all about feel and touch, okay? So, when you are in the store and you're feeling your brie, you want it to have some give, all right? You don't want it to be solid and, you know, completely firm all the way through. You want it to have some give. And I know that all of you wonderful people out there have done the old avocado test, and you're not squeezing the avocado in the middle. You're actually just pressing it on the top just gently to see whether it's right. It's very, very similar when you're doing, when you're trying to work out whether a brie or a white mould cheese is actually right. That is the best way to do it, okay? So you use your fingers and you just feel for that little bit of give, all right? Believe me, take the time to do this and you will not be sorry, okay? And the thing with avocado, who's cut the avocado and thought, oh yeah, you know, I think it's right, and then you open it up and it's actually like a little brick inside, and you go, well, what am I going to do with this? Oh, I'll put it back together, pop it in the fridge and see if it ripens. Who's done that? I know I've done it. But the thing with that is you've broken the cycle. So when you cut your brie or your camembert, you actually stop that cycle of ripening. Okay, so the white mould on the outside, let's just take a look at this little guy. The white mould on the outside of the cheese, like you can see here, and Dewey and I have been practicing very, very good hand washing practices. Okay, so that white mould, that ripens the cheese from the outside inwards, okay? And so what it does is the mould is a living thing, it goes into the cheese and it breaks down the protein and the lactic acid in the cheese. So as it does that, what it does is it softens the cheese, all right? The process is called proteolysis. And for us to be able to know that we have got the proteolysis happening, I don't know if you can see that, but it's really hard to, it's hard for me to see whether you can see what I can see. I can feel it and I can smell it, right?
So I'll come a little bit closer and you can see.
Yeah. So it has got some flexibility going on, which is what I want it to do. Alright, so there's no reason that you should have brie and camembert that looks back at you on your cheese board. Alright, so this is going to be super, super, super simple, and it's going to be one cheese. And I like this idea sometimes just getting a hero cheese like this, which looks amazing. I know it's beautiful and right because I've felt it. And just concentrating on one particular cheese. And you might put some beautiful sparkling wine with that. I've got a bit of Deviation Road chilling in the fridge for a bit later, once we've done our work. Do we? Alright, so over here I've got my cocktail. Oh, actually, I might get you to just, do you mind just freshening that up with a little bit more of that boiling water, which is over here. I'm just going to go off camera for a sec. Okay, one of the things that I would really love to leave with you today, I hope I leave you lots of things, but one of the things that I would really love to leave you today is understanding knives, okay? Knives and cheese. I've got about 25 knives hanging around here because I like to ensure that I'm using different knives for different cheeses, but I mean, look, I'm a cheesemaker, that probably, it makes it a little bit different, but nevertheless, one of the things that I really like to do when I'm cutting a brie or a camembert, or really any cheese, is have some boiling water on hand and a vessel that I can put it into. And so what happens is I'm sterilising the knife because that's boiling water, right? So I'm sterilising my knife, but I'm also heating it up, right? And by heating it up, what it means is I'm going to be able to glide through this cheese, and you will always do this once I show you. It's just really one of the best things when you are actually cutting a cheese. So what I want to do with this one is I want to just cut it in half. All right, so you can see there the knife just glides through absolutely perfectly, and look at that. Amazing, right? Okay, so that's one of the things. If I just show you, beautiful clean cut. You know, hardly anything left on the actual knife because it was beautiful and hot. So that's a good little tip and trick to remember. Can you see that? Yeah. It's so good that you're here. All right, so again, remember what I said, I'm going to get you to join that together. Yeah, I actually didn't cut that cheese. I just pretended to. I really just wanted to show you the cutting of the cheese because I think that that's really important. And I'm just going to put some strawberries on this, and I also like the idea of figs. I love figs. They are just one of the best fruits in the world. I'm just going to pop them around. There's no real, there's no real rules. I think that it's just, do stuff that makes you feel good, especially these days. One of the things that I do like with this particular cheese is thyme. I grow a lot of my own herbs, and it's always really nice because you can just go outside and pluck them. I've got some lovely South Australian almonds, and a few of those. We might deliberately drop some down just because we want to do the, styling thing. Is that what we do?
It's all completely natural. All completely natural.
And I might just have a little bit of that just down there. And then I'm going to take some honey. All right, so we have our Kris Lloyd honey, which is from the Adelaide Hills. Buzz Honey help us out with our honey needs. And I'm going to get one of these honey twirly whirlers, which I like to call them. I just think they are the most beautiful thing in the world. Like, I think honey is one of the most beautiful things in the world. And I'm going to drizzle that with honey and basically just I want to leave that honey twiddler there, and I don't know.
A little bit closer to camera.
I think that's just beautiful. Oh, I'm going to add some blueberries while I can. All right, to me, I think that just looks quite stunning. And honestly, that's just one cheese that just looks amazing. I love it. Who thinks that's great? And how easy is that? Just make sure you use South Australian produce. I'm one of the state's food ambassadors, and I couldn't tell you right now is such an important time for us to be supporting all the South Australian producers. I don't care whether they're making cheese or they're growing strawberries or whatever. I think it's just a really, really important thing that we can all do, and it will make a difference. It will help. So all of that produce on there is all South Australian, and a lot of it is also from the Adelaide Hills, which is where I'm from. Okay, so now, Dewey.
Yes.
I want to talk to you. I'll move this away. Or who would love to just grab that through the phone? Oh, I know you want it, but that's for me to have later. by myself.
So move us all in.
When I'm doing my own little party. Okay, so Dewey's put this beautiful platter together. So I guess we've done, really simple, one cheese, a bit of a theme going on here, green, native, so just quite simple. And then we've got more of a feast now when we can all get back together and do some partying and entertaining. Maybe you can remember some of the, the things that you've seen here today. So, Dewey, I just want you to just describe, why and how you've kind of put this together the way that you have.
Okay, so for me, most of the direction in how I plan a platter will come down to where it's going to be situated when you're entertaining. So if this is up against the wall, like pretend this is a wall here, then most of the cheeses are all going to be at one edge, because I don't really like the idea of people having to continually reach over. So if you can try to minimize that as much as you can, you're half the way there. Now, as Kris mentioned before, there are really no rules to any of this. It is all about having fun. It is all about having fun and just presenting something that just looks great. And cheeses, especially Kris's cheeses, and namely the Monet is probably the poster child of your cheeses, all look generally pretty good. But one thing that I generally find with cheese is that they all, with the exception of Monet's and some of her other cheeses, they all tend to be very, monotone in colour. So one big thing about cheese platters that you really want to try to add are those colour elements. Now they might not all be for consumption. Some of it is just going to be just purely for looks, but it does really lift the way the plate looks.
And you've done a brilliant job here. So we've got goat and a hot tin roof over here. So that's a little goat's cheese just with native pepperberry and outback chili. The Charleston, which is the same as the cheese that I put the honey and the strawberries and the fruit on. So that's our signature brie style cheese. We've got the Monet in the middle here, and we've just sprinkled a few extra little flowers, and that gives a little bit of a pop. But also, you've turned like a little plate upside down, and so you've raised that cheese, and I like that idea.
Yeah, so sometimes having different levels kind of really just makes everything pop a little bit more. My one tip about adding levels to a cheese platter though is the stuff that you put on the levels should be a soft cheese, because you don't really want people getting a knife and just like hammering down into a hard cheese, because you don't want things falling off and all of that. So that's probably my one tip for if you are going to do levels. Aside from that, go nuts.
Yeah, and not having, especially if that's against the wall.
Yeah.
So, there's a few things to take into consideration. There's some gluten-free crackers here. So Tucker's make this amazing gluten-free cracker. Honestly, it is the best gluten-free cracker in the world. We've got our beautiful fig and star anise relish over here. And so basically, I would be putting a knife probably with each of the cheeses, and I just start, I've got thousands and thousands of cheese knives, which I can't find one of them now.
Nice.
Yeah, so these little spoons are great for the softer cheeses, and again, I really encourage just taking that little bit off, and that just softens things for people to, understand that actually, I can bite into that. This looks also beautiful. I don't want to spoil it, but that's not what your host wants or your hostess. Basically they want you to get in and obviously eat the platter and enjoy the cheeses. We've got some beetroot relish here, which is made for me, and it's beetroot and horseradish. I love that relish with the goat's cheeses. Particularly Edith. So Edith is hovering over there somewhere, but Edith and the beetroot relish is amazing. And then we've got the fig and star anise jam, which goes beautifully with any of the white mold cheeses. Strawberries, obviously South Australian strawberries, beautiful and fresh. Again, figs. And one of the things is that we've added to this plate is pomegranate. So pomegranate at the moment, I've been doing lots of shopping at Foodland, and I've just been finding these in little bags, and they're just such a beautiful fruit. They're great, you know, to cook with even. You know, I love a bit of pomegranate, you know, at the end of the dish if you're doing, say, something like chicken or whatever. Obviously, seasonal pears and Adelaide Hills, gorgeous Adelaide Hills apples that we get from Lobo. You were going to say something?
Oh, I was going to say something about the pomegranates. Is that
Just can we do that?
Yes, we can.
Just want to make you totally jealous.
Just one thing I wanted to add about the pomegranates is so I was mentioning the whole add colour type of thing. But one thing I really like about the pomegranates on this is that it just adds like another layer of texture where you don't really normally would see on a cheese board as well. So
and it's quite rustic, and you know the way that you've just kind of pulled it apart is really gorgeous as well. And then, you know, obviously just offering a few different styles of crackers. We've got some really lovely fruity kind of crackers here. I'm a bit of a purist, and I actually don't like eating crackers. I mean, I'll eat a packet of Tuckers, you know, gluten-free by themselves. I don't actually like to necessarily put crackers with my cheese, because I actually just like eating cheese. And you know, I think it was Simon Bryant has said to me once, you know, you've done all the hard work. Why would I spoil it with anything? So that's always something that I've remembered, and you know, thanks Simon for, you know, giving, I guess, that bit of inspiration. So it can be as complicated or as simple, and I'll just bring this little guy back now as we almost wind up. We don't want to keep you for too long, or as simple as you like. We'll be putting together a whole bunch of live Facebook sessions. It's going to be called the Clever Little Cheese Sessions, and you can find and subscribe at krisloyd.com.au. You'll find the Kris Lloyd Clever Little Cheese blog there, and we have got some really amazing things coming to you soon. We're collaborating with Spark and the Whitmore, obviously doing fantastic collaborations with Dewey and a number of other businesses around South Australia, AMJ Produce as well. So what I want to do is support other local businesses by collaborating with them, and you know, in turn, a whole bunch of businesses have got in contact with me and said, Kris, you know, can we do something together? So I think it's been said before, we're all in this together, and we are. So I'm hoping that maybe I've given you, or we've given you, some inspiration to just, have a bit of fun. I mean, food is just amazing, and God, you know.
And now we've got the time to enjoy it.
We have,
yes,
absolutely. So, has anyone got any questions? I think that's one of the things I meant to ask here. Because the other thing is we're collaborating with the South Australian Tourism Commission. We're doing See South Australia from your home. And I said that we would have a little drink. So here we go. What's the time? What's past 5 o'clock. Coriol Chenin Blanc, love it.
So just one thing, Kris, you closed your cellar door how long ago?
Yeah, we closed the cellar door obviously due to the government regulations, probably about 2 weeks ago. We open it for pickup. Sometimes, you know, some of our online orders, you know, people don't want them delivered, they want to come and pick them up. So we will open the cellar door and just, you know, pop it in your boot or whatever, obviously making sure that we do all the right things as far as all the government regos go. But yeah, probably about 2 weeks ago we closed it up. And, you know, I mean, part of it, most of our business is food service. So yeah, we have been hit heavily, and obviously all of our, you know, dairy farmers as well. You know, the thing is, if everybody gets behind and supports all the local businesses, I Choose SA, I guess that's the other thing that perhaps we should be looking at as well. You know, we'll get through it. We'll get through it fine, and I think we'll all be bigger and stronger and better. Maybe a little wider. A little wider for it, but anyway, yeah, cheese is you know, cheese is a wonderful thing, and it's lovely to be able to share it with all of you. I don't know if you have any questions. I'd love you to have just one question. I think that's
Surely.
meant to.
Someone's got a
I
question.
think that's meant to be the you know, whether you've made it or not made it. If you get a question. No.
No, people are just very happy to just see you,
Oh.
which is great.
Okay, well we said we'd probably be about 30 minutes and we are around about that 30-minute mark. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've learnt something. Remember a couple of those little tips that I gave you. This isn't the last live video. Remember what I said, clever little cheese sessions. And yeah, look forward to seeing you again soon. I hope you've enjoyed it and stay safe, stay well, and see you again soon.
Oh, hang on, we do have one question.
One question, yay!
Actually, we've got two questions. I'll go with the first one. I'll go with the first one.
Okay.
So, do certain wines pair better with some cheeses?
And who's that from?
It's from Diane Brown.
Diane Brown, yes, absolutely. So I think cheeses that are quite rich and decadent, so for instance our Jester here, which is a triple cream cheese, you know, something like a sparkling wine that's got the carbonation, it just sort of cleanses your palate and gives you just a nice clean mouthfeel after, because some of those cheeses can be a little bit rich. I tend to think that white wines go really well with cheeses as opposed to red wines. Although something like Edith, you know, Edith has just been this amazing cheese that we've been making now for over 25 years. She is a cheese that can stand up to a red wine, maybe something like a Sangiovese, something a little bit lighter. But I guess there's, again, the same as the cheese platters and what they are going to look like, you know, there's no science to it. Basically, it's what tastes great for you, what makes, you know, what works for you and your palate. Generally, the rule of thumb, though, is that you try and match. So if it's a acid cheese, there's lots of acid in it, like the native platter. That's why I went for the Coriol Chenin Blanc, because there's actually a fair bit of acid in that cheese. Something that's perhaps a little bit more, you know, creamy, I'd probably go for a sparkling wine. So you're looking at the weight of the cheese and then also perhaps the heaviness of the wine as well. Hope that answers your question.
Okay, great. Second question from Heather.
Heather? Hi, Heather.
Are any of your cheeses available in New Zealand?
Oh, in New Zealand, no. I'm so sorry. Unfortunately, due to the biosecurity regulations, we aren't able to send cheeses to New Zealand. But if you're ever in the States or Australia, you'll find them.
Perfect. I think that's it.
All right. Fantastic. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Stay safe, stay well, and see you next time.